Next, assimilation of speculation to fact. News stories present preliminary finding as if they were scientifically sound evident. So they assimilate speculation to fact. So some to the extent that you don't know which one is fact and which one is speculation. So here in the press release, it says the findings shed new light on the biology of breast cancer metastasis, while also acknowledging the possibilities for advance in treatment and prognostic tools. So the find here in the news, it says the finding is considered as a landmark. Okay, shed new light and landmark is different. Okay, shed new light give you something like a hope, something new perspective. Here it says landmark because it is proof that specific genetic signature exists for each type of cancer and the organ expressed too. So in the press release, it just say that the finding will give you a new way of understanding the biology of breast cancer metastasis and also help you to, acknowledge the possibility to have further treatment. But here it gives you like a specific genetic signature exists for each type of cancer. So note here, the original press release did not provide definitive empirical evidence on any account. Any claim extending the finding beyond breast cancer or its metastasis to the lung are unwarranted and unsupported by the research. But here is stage for each type of cancer. So you can see how the speculation and facts are being mixed up, and towards the end you don't know, you somehow you will believe in whatever news has been reported, which is not true according to what the press release has been. Next is contradiction. News story contain claim contradictory to that appearing in the sources. Funny thing happened. I just recorded the slide until end of the lecture, but I did not. I just did lecture on this slide towards the end of the lecture, but apparently I did not record it. Anyway, so we are talking about the contradictory. So some of the news reports somehow report a contradicting facts on what actually has been released by the science institution. So here we're going to look at this press release, highlights the significance of recent findings that noting that it had been previously assumed that genes that dictate metastasis to specific organs did not exist. So so that is the fact that here in the news it says, we always knew that specific tumors went to certain sites. They did not mention here. They did not mention that in that press release. But we didn't know which genes detected where they went. So they didn't mention that. So this is a very contradicting facts from the press release. So that's why it is important for us, the public. But then it's, we public, we consume the news. Sometimes we don't have time to, double check the information. So that's why the role of the journalists who are the bridge between the scientific community and the public is important. It's important for them to double check the information, double check what they have written, but then due to some limitation because of the time, deadline, the pressure, they don't have the time to do all this investigative journalism. So at the end of the day, all this misrepresentation of science in the news media most of the time lead to the clash between the two distinct cultures. Like we have discussed earlier on, how the production of the knowledge in the science is different than the production of the information and the knowledge in the mass media. The scientists are more concerned about, getting towards the truth, revealing what's happening in the world, whereas in the news media, they have the responsibility of disseminating information to the public. But then because of a lot of pressure that they went through, this has led them to, producing sometimes incorrect reports on science. So I was actually talking a lot in my previous lecture, in just now, the one that I did not record. But anyway, so I think the main point that we as a public as a public and you as a student, when you have learned about science journalism, is that journalists play important role, scientists also play important role. Scientists need to communicate what they have worked on to the public as well as to the media, to the journalists on what they have done. just so you know, even in local Malaysia university, all the scientists sometimes they avoid to talk to the media because they thought, sometimes their words will be misrepresented. It will be put in a very controversial manner in the news, and then people will be, it will backlash them, and then at the end of the day, we will say, oh, these scientists are not worthy. Why are we paying them to do research by our own tax money, but they are not doing real work? But it's just because of some bad wording in the news report. So the sign, so even though they feel they are being responsible for not giving, for avoiding it, so that they won't have bad names, it is their responsibility to communicate their information to the public and to the media. So I think scientists also have responsibility to um, to communicate effectively on how on in delivering what they are doing, not in the jargon words, but rather in a more simpler and more accessible words, if you may count it. Journalists also have responsibility in double checking it, all the information. They also have responsibility in getting the right information, as we have looked at the misrepresentation of the news in the media, science in the news media, how they somehow twist the word, they omit some of the word, and then they bring a different new fact to the public, which is wrong. So there are actually numbers of guidelines for journalists in dealing with science. This is an example. I think this has been developed in UK. Science and Technology Third Report in 2000. It has been updated. I'm not sure whether it has been updated since. But in this one, they highlight that the journalist should be compliant on the accuracy, credibility, advice, responsibility, balance, legitimacy, and accessibility. So I think that's all for this week. I will give you a tutorial for you to look on. You will read, I'll give you a paper, a report on, this report on a report, a report on COVID vaccine, a critiques by a politician. I will give you some set of question, and no, I will give you a question and you will write a short essay on it. This will be a group work in the group video that you have. So next week we will discuss. So I will give you some time until even this Thursday you can work on that. So next Tuesday we will have a live class. So with that live class, I will discuss a bit on your essay. I think that's all for this week. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Until then, see you next week. Bye.